Hi, everybody. It's time for a weekly overview for what is essentially the first week of April. And we've had weeks during this tumultuous time of March and April that have been confusing or more static. And then there are other weeks where we're called upon to tap into our power and to make things happen. And this week that is coming up, I'm happy to say, is that kind of week. Now, we've had the new moon solar eclipse in Aries a little over 24 hours ago. I'm doing this on March the 30th, 5:24 p.m. So it's been well over 24 hours, well over 36 hours at this point in time. And the energy is starting to return. And as the week progresses, more and more, the moon is going to get bigger and bigger and bigger, and our energy is going to increase and increase and increase. One thing about the new moon solar eclipse, prior to the new moon solar eclipse, I really did find, I wonder if this resonates for you guys, I really did find that the full moon lunar eclipse on March the 13th, right up to the new moon solar eclipse, not after the solar eclipse, up to the solar eclipse, events unfolded that were definitely correlated to events related to the week before and after January the 13th. I wanted to leave you with that because as I was reflecting on it, I was just like, that full moon lunar eclipse all the way till just before the new moon solar eclipse, I was dealing with events, fallout. It was a full moon lunar eclipse of release. Related to events that I experienced and that some of which I even initiated the week before and after January the 13th. Anyway, wanted to mention that to you. Now, energy is going to increase. The flatness of the dark of the moon is behind us more and more. And it's always, the new moon happens and a certain optimism creeps into the picture, which is lovely. But it does take a second for the moon's crescent to start to appear. Now, let's go over what's going on this week. We know that it is fundamentally a month of Aries. But if you have seen my new moon solar eclipse in Aries video, you know that the first 2 weeks of the month of April, there's a lot going on in the sign of Pisces as well. On the 2nd of April, Venus conjuncts the North Node in Pisces. On the 4th of April, Mars from Cancer trines Saturn in Pisces. On the 6th of April, Mercury conjuncts the North Node in Pisces. And Venus from Pisces trines Mars in Cancer. On the 7th of April, Venus conjuncts Saturn for the second time, and Mercury goes direct. On the 8th, Mars trines the North Node. And on the 11th, I know I'm going into next week, Mercury trines Mars. We know, those of you who watched my new moon solar eclipse video in Aries, know that we've got currently, just within 5 degrees of each other, Mercury, Venus, both retrograde, the North Node, and Saturn. And so they're all making their conjunctions. And we've got Mars in Cancer trining these bodies, particularly trining the North Node and Saturn. And the North Node and Saturn are getting closer and closer together. And as the week progresses, those conjunctions are unfolding. Now, I would say Mercury goes direct April the 7th. So I would say till about April the 4th or so, the energy is more uncomplicated. After the 4th, but especially the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, when Mercury is going direct, it can be a very important and a pregnant time in some ways. Matters going back to when Mercury went retrograde around March the 15th can come back around to be closed out. Things decided while Mercury was retrograde can reach some sort of a finality or a conclusion. Things can end up getting revised. When Mercury is either going retrograde or going direct, as I always say, the needle on the compass kind of spins around. So as we head to the second half of this coming week, as we head towards April the 7th, we're going to be dealing with a much desired event, Mercury going direct. We want Mercury to go direct. We want Mercury to start to move forward. But that second half of the week is going to come with its Mercury stationary, all the traditional snafus, travel delays, bags lost, technology breaking down, traffic delays, problems with cars and vehicles, problems with public transportations and buses and Ubers and lifts and, not meeting your schedule, not reading emails correctly. How interesting with Mercury retrograde. I don't know how many of you had this, but I certainly had my share of, luckily I was in the receiving end of this, but I had my share of emails I was CC'd on that I should not have been CC'd on. Classic Mercury retrograde, but also in a way that it reveals something. I told you Mercury retrograde reveals something to you and lets you know whether you are, what should be for you and what is not for you, whether to put your eggs in a certain basket or not put eggs in a certain basket. The first part of the week, we've got Venus conjuncting the North Node and Mars trining Saturn. And it's Mars trining Saturn as we head towards April 4th. Out of everything that is going on, but especially until April 4th, here's what I want to say. Until April the 4th, won't you consider continuing to take action to stabilize the Pisces part of the chart? It's just the astrology. Mars trining Saturn for the third and final time. Mars from Cancer. Saturn in Pisces. Folks, I did a video not that long ago on Mars direct going over Cancer and Leo and supporting the Pisces and then the Aries parts of the chart. Go back and take a look at that. Those of you who are members, I especially did rising sign specific videos on Mars being direct. I'm in the middle of doing the rising sign specific videos for the new moon solar eclipse in Aries. Let's do the housekeeping bit. 3 ways to engage with me. You can watch my content for free online. You can become a member for $6.99 a month, and there are videos that are sign specific there. And I do them for the rising signs. You're welcome to look at them for your sun sign and moon and Venus, but really for me, they're for your rising sign. And the third way to engage with me is to get a private reading, personal reading, and information on memberships, and the email address to use for readings is in the description box below. I'm running 2 specials right now. Single topic $50, 30 to 40 minute reading centered around a single topic or a single question or a single area. That special runs till April the 7th. And then for the month of April, I'm continuing to offer a $100 60 to 75 minute reading around the astrology of March and April, the 2 retrogrades and the 2 eclipses, and how that relates to your birth chart. Okay, great, that's out there, it's done. But coming back to Mars, I have been talking about Mars trining Saturn on April 4th. Whether in the Pisces part of the chart you need to show up responsibly in a disciplined manner to concretize Neptunian ambitions, whether you need to do so to set boundaries, whether you need to do so to manage affairs in the Pisces part of the chart that you have not been able to get on top of, showing up Saturn, showing up in the Pisces part of the chart in a way that is for your highest good, in a disciplined manner, processing lessons, clean intentions, setting boundaries against anyone who's being deceptive or gaslighting or playing their cards close to the chest. If it's other people, setting boundaries towards yourself. Particularly if you're Capricorn, Aquarius, or Pisces rising, if you're the one who's playing your cards very close to your chest. Till the 4th, from now till the 4th, you have a chance. Mars trining Saturn is a very powerful transit to make things happen. And Mars is where we pursue our goals and where we set our boundaries, and is supporting Saturn, trying to help stabilize and minimize energy leaks in the Pisces part of the chart. Won't you please consider, look at your chart. Which is the house that has Pisces in it? How have matters in that part of the chart been loosey-goosey since 2012, reaching some sort of point of crisis in 14-15, but especially 2016-17. As I said, the overarching theme is show up to the Pisces part of the chart and manage affairs responsibly and in a disciplined manner. This could mean concretizing ambitions or plans that are of a Neptunian nature, artistic, monastic, therapeutic, musical, spiritual, and putting some structure around them. It can mean setting boundaries if someone has been creating loss through deception or fogginess or lack of clarity. Most of all, we have had a hard time since 2012 managing affairs related to in this Pisces part of the chart, and we're being encouraged, especially since March 2023, and especially now in March and April. And these first 2 weeks of April, if you start to take some actions to continue to clarify, to continue to make progress towards bringing the Pisces part of the chart into alignment with where you want it to go and how to manage things, it can show really interesting results. You might really find yourself in interesting situations that lead to a resolution that is happier for you in the second half of April, where you're not quite on the receiving end of chaos, but you are actively trying to manage and get on top of it. So April the 4th, Mars trines Saturn. Mars from the Cancer part of the chart, Saturn in the Pisces part of the chart. As I said, I've done a video on Mars direct. I'll put a link to that at the end of this, and there are rising sign videos related to Mars trining Saturn. Now, on April the 2nd, 2 days before that, Venus does conjunct the North Node in Pisces. There could be, but it's a very complicated set of energies with this North Node and Saturn conjunction with Venus. And then Mercury conjuncts the North Node on the 6th. The North Node energy of Pisces is distinct from Saturn and Neptune energy in Pisces that I've described. When the North Node goes to a certain part of the chart, we're meant to lean into that part of the chart to get something. And I did cover the North Node going over Pisces in the New Moon and Pisces video, the general one and the sign-specific ones as well. But you're being asked to lean into the Pisces part of the chart, the house occupied by Pisces, it's where some of your development right now lies. And with Venus conjuncting it, something of value, something could be offered, something could be... I really want you to just roll up your sleeves and dive, continue to swim in these Piscean waters to bring structure to them. The thing that concerns me the most, it won't apply to everybody, but is there something of value that is in danger of, again, being stolen, for lack of a better word, or... The North Node energy in Pisces gets free of the Saturn-Neptune energy after the end of April. And especially after the end of the first week of June, we're really leaning into the Pisces part of the chart. Until then, the North Node just having conjuncted Neptune, now getting ready to conjunct Saturn, where there could be some... I think the actions that you take... Mars is getting ready to trine the North Node. Venus is getting ready to conjunct Saturn. This whole Venus retrograde as we get to April the 7th is going to find its meaning, its purpose. Why are we reevaluating relationships? Why are we reevaluating our finances and our resources? And how are we reorganizing our relationships and our finances, our resources, so that they can support what we value? The thing that concerns me a little bit about the North Node between Saturn and Neptune is just that we're meant to lean into something to get something, but these are powerful influences that are affecting it. And with Venus and Mercury, Mercury retrograde goes direct on April the 7th, one day after Mercury conjuncts the North Node. It's a very important Mercury conjunction. because the Mercury, it's like Mercury conjuncts the North Node and says, all right, I can now go direct. Venus conjuncts the North Node, and then she conjuncts Saturn, and then she barely moves past Saturn, and on the 14th, on the 12th, Venus goes direct, and then she's going to conjunct Saturn again in the third week of April. Discipline and responsibility related to relationships and finances. Very hard to look at the first week of April without looking at this April Pisces party smorgasbord between Saturn, Venus retrograde and direct, Mercury retrograde and direct, and the North Node. Responsibility, what we're meant to lean into, and the planet of relationships and abundance, and the planet of communications coming back into Pisces to tie things up, and Mars trining them. I'm telling you, for till April the 4th, just go for it. If there are questions you want to ask, if there are things you want to investigate, if there are boundaries you want to set, if there are things you want to do to stabilize the Pisces part of the chart. Yes, the new moon solar eclipse in Aries has happened, and if there are things that you want to pursue as part of that, go for it. It's very much this energy juggling the Pisces and the Aries part of the chart. And the irony is that the new moon, if the word irony is rightly used, the new moon solar eclipse has happened in Aries, but the bulk of the astrological energy in the first 2 weeks of April is very Pisces specific. And it's very much tying up this energy of stabilizing the Pisces part of the chart. And there's a lot riding on it. A lot riding on it. Won't you show up till April the 4th from the Cancer part of the chart, but in the Pisces part of the chart, to do what you think you need to do to impose a sense of discipline and structure in the Pisces part of the chart? I can sit here and talk about Venus conjuncting the North Node, and Mars trining Saturn, and Mercury conjuncting the North Node, and Venus trining Mars, lovely, in Pisces. And then Venus conjuncting Saturn. You know, on April the 7th, when we have Venus conjuncting Saturn and Mercury going direct, that is the first date that's just like, restriction. Venus conjuncting Saturn. What lessons is Venus's retrograde getting ready to go direct is Saturn going to demand of Venus? Do we really need more financial restriction in relationship risk? We do. There's something that needs to be processed. There's some sort of a gift in the Pisces part of the chart with Venus conjuncting the North Node and Mercury conjuncting the North Node. They're retrograde, but there's something for us to lean into and move towards in the Pisces part of the chart that we are required to show up in the Pisces part of the chart once and for all in a disciplined and rigorous manner to help stabilize it. Whether it is concretizing Neptunian ambitions, whether it is setting boundaries towards others, or in certain cases towards ourselves, if we're the ones who've been foggy and deceptive. Everything that you have been doing in March in the Pisces part of the chart rests on the next 3 weeks, but this coming week is very active and dynamic. After the 4th, energies become murkier, because even though Mercury is going to conjunct the North Node and Venus is trining Mars, and those are both lovely, Venus conjuncting Saturn, but especially Mercury going direct. It's that Mercury going direct that causes the needle to spin in the compass. We want it to go direct, but we may be getting more truth bombs and truth serums being developed, delivered to us, and more reality checks and more unmistakable facts that we can't look away from, telling us whether we've put our eggs in the right basket or the wrong basket, or where to move them from, or whether we're entering a building that is on pillars of sand, or whether it has concrete foundations. And we're thanking Mercury for the reality checks and all the reality that has been delivered to us, particularly through Mercury retrograde doing its pranks and copying us on emails that we, revealing things to us so that we know what to invest in. And all of that is great, but Mercury going direct has its own kind of energy. And as I said, if you've said yes to something and you have Mercury direct in your birth chart while Mercury is retrograde, then you have to be mentally and emotionally prepared that as Mercury goes direct, and over the, till April the 10th or so, or 12th or so, things around those projects might shift and change. So there's all of that to process. So the new moon solar eclipses happen in Aries. There's the Aries energy to look out for. What is coming up that is pulling me into the Aries part of the chart and pulling me to move towards completing an eclipse cycle that started in March, April 23. But in some cases, in many cases, really making me feel like, all right, let me go for it. I haven't been able to lean into these eclipses completely and move in the direction I've wanted to since March, April 23. And here's my chance. But that chance, especially if you have Mercury direct in your birth chart, does not get going till May, through the end of the first week of June. Right now, there's a lot that needs to be resolved and stabilized. And this is not a time with Mars getting ready to trine Saturn to retire from the Pisces part of the chart. If anything, it is a time to roll up your sleeves and get the questions out and set the boundaries and take the action and continue to complete what you're trying to complete to stabilize the Pisces part of the chart. That is the order of the day till the 4th. Why has Venus retrograde come back into Pisces when the month of Pisces has ended? Why does Mercury conjunct the North Node and go, all right, this is the direction you need to move forward in. There's something here from a communication perspective and a fact perspective that you need to look at. But I'm moving forward now. Mercury will be direct in Pisces till April the 15th. And then back in Aries. The first 2-3 weeks of April are very decisive, very turbulent, maybe in exciting ways. Remember that the tarot card for April is, where did it go? Is transformation. So why not get ahead of transformation and create it? Tap into your power. Mars is direct now. Venus conjuncts the North Node on April the 2nd. She's retrograde. After Venus is direct, she's going to conjunct the North Node one more time on April the 20th. So fine, she's conjuncting the North Node now, setting something up. She'll conjunct it again direct on April the 20th. Something of value, the relationships, the financial opportunities, the opportunities in the Pisces part of the chart that you're meant to lean into. Followed by Mercury conjuncting the North Node on the 6th. Something about it gets communicated. Venus trines Mars just before she's getting ready to conjunct Saturn. April the 4th, Mars trines Saturn. Just roll up your sleeves and lean into the Pisces part of the chart, and pending items, finish pending tasks, set those boundaries, process lessons, show up in a disciplined manner towards the Pisces part of the chart. That is the order of next week. Create the transformation, stabilize it. Stabilize it, minimize the energy leaks, confront who you need to confront, assertive, not aggressive. Confront yourself if you're the one who's been foggy or deceptive or have played cards close to your chest. Venus conjuncts Saturn again on the 24th when she's direct. So this discipline around relationships and finances and abundance doesn't get sorted out till the 24th. But at least in the second half of April, there's room for resolution. But that resolution and how that resolution works out for you is dependent on the actions you take between now and the 4th. Otherwise, you may be on the receiving end of a resolution that you don't quite like. And you feel like somewhere, again, your pockets have been picked. Or if you're not learning the lessons and you're the one who's doing the pocket picking, then there might be consequences that you have to go through. All right. there's nothing more for me to say other than just what I've said. So I hope that resonates for you guys. There are plenty of other resources on my channel that you can look at, other free videos that I've done about Mars being direct, the new moon in Pisces I did just around February the 27th even, which focused on the Pisces part of the chart. I've already done the new moon solar eclipse video in Aries. The membership part of the chart has rising sign specific content on the Pisces new moon, the Virgo full moon lunar eclipse, which those eclipses go all the way to February 27th. But for the purpose of this video, the Pisces new moon, but especially Mars direct in Pisces and Aries. Okay, all those resources available to you depending on what you want to partake of. And of course, you could always email me for a reading with me as well. I'm going to leave it at that. Subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't already. When you subscribe, there's a bell icon next to the subscribe button. When you hover over that, there's a wiggly bell on top that says you can be notified for all the videos that I do. So click on that so you're notified whenever I do a new video. You can contribute to this channel monetarily by using the thanks button underneath this video, or there is information about donations in the description box. You can contribute to this channel for free by liking the video, by commenting on it, should you feel so inclined. Share this content, information about my video with anyone who you think might find it useful. Neptune does move into Aries today for part of 25, and my next general video is going to be about that. Okay? It's it's nice. It's nice to feel like there's power and value behind these transits. We've just got to show up and take care of ourselves with integrity and discipline in that Pisces part of the chart, ready to sort things out and minimize energy leaks. And I'm even happy that we're moving towards Mercury going direct, but I will just acknowledge that the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th is likely to be a little bit messy energetically as Mercury goes direct. And then once that is done, the messiness continues because Venus is stationary and she's getting ready to go direct. We want these planets direct. We're just in the thick of it now. And the cleanup police for Pisces is not leaving us alone, and we can feel it instinctively. We're not at peace. So what do you need to do to move towards being at peace in the Pisces part of your chart? That is what this video is about. What do you need to do in order to become at peace with the Pisces part of your chart? Whether it has to do with concretizing ambitions, setting boundaries, managing things in a disciplined manner so that you're not stressed about things that you haven't been able to manage for a long time. Some exciting aspects. All right, take care.